So welcome to the digital media class. This is a class here at the Career Center, which is it's a choice high school, so that students in the regular high schools can take the extra classes here that are specialty to the Career Center, be the AP classes, advanced placement classes, or career technical ed, which is what the digital media and the video class is about. We cover a variety of areas, audio, video, web, animation, and graphics.
So what did you think that first day showing up in the digital media class?
Well, I was scared because it seemed like a lot of people in there, particularly Zoe, knew what they were doing. Like, they've done this stuff before. I could see stuff Allison did, things in like or Wendy's Movie Maker and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, I've never really done anything before. I did like one thing in iMovie for my German class on the app, but like that was so simplified that I just felt so nervous.
Okay, the curriculum is actually divided into 4 classes. The first year is digital media and advanced digital media, where the first semester they'll spend time learning some of the skills for the programs and also sort of challenging their perspective. And then in the second semester, the advanced digital media, it's applying some of those as if they were working for someone else. And the second year, it begins with Adobe Video, which is really taking all these broad digital media skills and focusing them specifically in the video area, because that just really highlights all of the graphics, the audio, animation. It's all there in the video portion. And then the final semester, they're given the opportunity to take what they've learned and just really explore a topic that is near and dear to them, or just something that they're really curious about. So they have to do a little research on a certain particular area, and then develop a portfolio, work out a time management in terms of breaking the project into smaller pieces, the bigger project into smaller pieces, and then it culminates with a presentation.
So did you feel like you caught on pretty quickly?
Not really. The first semester, pretty much everything I did wasn't all that great. Like, for the Fantasy Escape, it was alright, but like, it wasn't great compared to like what other people did.
So it sounds like you had part of your difficulty was comparing yourself to others.
Yeah, because like a lot of them, and I'm going to say Zoe in particular, because she was the person I sat next to and saw all her stuff. She had done Photoshop and all that stuff a lot, GIMP and stuff like that. So she did things like that before, and I didn't. So when I finally looked at my stuff compared to hers, it was like, wow, I suck.
Megan has been in this program, gone through all 4 semesters. And just to kind of give you a little start there, like here's her notebook, which she started with. And this is one of her very first projects, her version of the Out of Bounds. We're taking an image of I don't know if that was her actual dog or just it's actually her own personal photograph of her dog. And by changing the background, creating that framing effect that she's created into what was a flat image, now has an aspect of 3D to it.
So how did you get past that, making comparisons between where you were and where other people were?
Well, I also, as I started getting better, I started realizing that they did have more experience, and that it was unrealistic to like compare myself to like Zoe and other people in that class, because they knew what they were doing and I didn't. But I was still getting it done and learning.
The plus points is one really good example of where I saw growth in Megan. That she chose to. Part of the plus points is you'd write that up, but then you would share it with the class and make presentations.
And so by accepting the challenge and being persistent, you started to get confidence?
Yeah. I would say by the advanced digital media the second semester, it was a little rough. Like, I had a clover that we drew on the computer, and like there's a hole in the middle of it if you actually look at it. But by like when you did like the client project, when you did radio broadcasting, and I was in charge of the graphics part, I actually learned how to go on YouTube and learn how to do this stuff. So I actually created a graphic that was really good, and my part of the project is what that class actually liked the best. And then I also did some flyers for my church in InDesign. It was a motion team I was a part of at the time. And basically display 3D design, which is actually a really easy program compared to like Photoshop or Illustrator. I figured out how to do it, and it actually turned out really good, something that like I would see the church would do. Like, it was comparable.
So from the very first time she presented, where she was just like, just so quiet, and you could hardly even hear what she was saying, and just kind of like, and here's my thing, thank you, to at the as we went along through the time together, she was like, okay, everybody, sit back. I want to show you something there. I'm going to show you another one today. She got very outspoken and comfortable when speaking in front of a large group, and I could always count every week, it's time for that opportunity. She'd be there jumping up ready to do that.
So it sounds like you gained a lot of confidence by working with others, or doing projects that were suitable for others.
Yeah, and it also gave me like real world experience. Like, I had to work with other people and do what they wanted. It wasn't just like what I wanted to do, and I think that has helped me in college too, because I've had to work with other people, cooperate, talk to different people, and then as I went on to, the next year, second year, Adobe Video and CT Advanced Studies, I did that even more, especially for my final project where I was filming at 3 different locations and doing interviews, which I had to schedule and cooperate with all the 3 different directors for Kids Summit, and plus Bryce and some other like technical people to get it done.
So how can you describe the process of getting outside your comfort zone?
Honestly, this entire class got me out of my comfort zone more than any other class I took academically. Even like the AP English class that I took did not get me out of my comfort zone like this class did. I think CT Advanced Study classes are underrated, especially at the Career Center, where they're not a joke. Like, some of the classes, like at the homeschools, foods, that was a little bit of cooking, but a lot of it was kind of common sense. It was a little bit of a joke. It was super easy, like pretty much anyone can pass. But like this class in particular, this media program, and I would say like radio broadcasting, just from what I've seen in the graphic design program, and even the cooking programs here, the foods classes, they get more fancy, like entire kitchen. I would say that they're definitely a challenge, and people should consider doing that because it gives you real world experience.
So for her final project, Megan chose to highlight the work that was being done, the children's ministry, and why it's important for children's ministries specifically to incorporate digital media. And she did research about, how younger people are just so much more savvy, but also just that's the way they think. So it was important to incorporate those kind of things, and she did. But she also had a lot of skills she developed from the challenge of just organizing it. Just having to talk to all these different people, getting permissions to set up the times to record the events, not just take movies that had already been done, but ones that she was able to create originally. And certainly she went through a lot of between getting folks to help her and mentor her, but also to work out all the details. So, and then when it came down to her final production and then presentation, the members of the panels were very impressed with her persistency and her thoroughness in the piece that she put together.
How did you feel about your presentation, your final presentation?
Honestly, that was probably the best presentation I have ever done up to that point. I've always was nervous, and it gets showed in every presentation, like at school. Like, I had a history presentation the semester before, and I was like shaking, nervous, and it wasn't very good, but I did this presentation, and I went through the whole presentation, and then I realized I really wasn't like scared to talk in front of people anymore. And like since then, it's been so much easier to talk in front of people. Even in college, it's like my foods class that I'm taking there, Enter the Food System, is that you have to talk in front of people to get participation points, which if you don't do that, that will affect your grade. And I taught not just once to get the point, but several points throughout the conversation. I get engaged in my English class. There was a point where I wrote this like skit thing and even acted out the part of the skit.